Welcome to another tutorial of Proflan YouTube channel. In this particular video, we're going to have a discussion on how you're supposed to solve P1 math paper, and this is May-June of 2024. Basically, this is the RE paper that was done. Then we're going to look at specifically how you're going to approach the question that we have having here. If you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload a tutorial, you'll be notified. Now, to begin with, in question 1, we have a question from integration. And of course, you remember that according to the rules of integration, if you are having, for instance, x raised to power n, to integrate this with respect to x, what we are going to do is that we're going to say this is going to be x n plus 1, and down here we are going to say n plus 1. We're going to divide by the power, and then we're going to say plus c as the integral part. So with this one, we're going to increase the power by 1, that becomes power 4. Then we divide by that power 4, and then we're going to get that term as 1 over 8 x raised to power 4, and the second term reduces to 6 x raised to power a half, because we are having here 3 over root x. This can be written as 3 over x raised to power a half, and this can be written as 3x raised to power negative 1 over 2, isn't it? Then now, if we are going to integrate this, we are going to increase the power by 1, and that is going to be negative a half plus 1, that's going to be a half. Then we shall divide everything by a half as well. So 3 divided by a half, that's going to be 6, and the power is going to be 1 over 2, the new power. So that is why we are having this, and integrating a constant, we are going to have negative 4x, and then don't forget to say plus c, and in that way you are going to earn a whole 4 marks for just doing that. So we're going to move further to the next question, and this next question, what does it say? The next question says that, from which topic is it? We are going to solve the equation of inequalities. So we are going to solve this inequality that we are having here. Of course, you are going to open the brackets and then you put the like terms together while considering the inequality. Something that you need to remember is that when you add or subtract or move a negative number on to the other side of the inequality, you're going to treat that as the equal sign. But if you multiply and divide by a negative number, the inequality sign is going to change. Don't forget that. So the marking area here is that we need to have expanded, and this is what it is simplified to. Then we put the like term together, and finally our x is going to be less than 35 over 3. The next part, we are supposed to write this expression in the form of this. Yeah. Now remember, this is just completing the square, and you are going to pick x, and then you say minus a half of this number is 3, and then you are going to square everything and then subtract this number inside here squared, 3 squared, then plus 1. So which is going to translate to what? Which is going to translate to this particular expression. So our a is negative 3 and b is going to be negative 8. Further, you are supposed now, once you've done that, you are going to solve this. Already we have this expression, so how are we going to solve it? We are going to equate this part that we got here. Of course, we had gotten our equation being x minus 3 squared minus 8 is greater than or equals to 0. So in order to solve this, in order to solve this equation, we shall take this on the other side, and then we find the square root. Of course, we're going to have x minus 3 root 8, and so our x minus 3 is greater than or equals to root 8. So meaning that this is plus or minus, so x is greater than or equals to 3 plus or minus root 8. Those are the inequality. But now our inequality here, we are going to treat this inequality sign as the equal sign. So we shall say minus 8 is equals to 0. Taking 8 on the other side, what are we going to have? We are going to have x minus 3 is equals to 8. Remember, this is a squared here. Then we need to find square root both sides. Square root and also square root. X is going to be equal to 3 plus or minus root 8. With that, in order to solve this inequality, you need to remember that you are going to sketch that curve. That is how it will look like, because this is positive. It will be opening. It will be opening upwards. So one of the solution will be this one, which is 3 minus root 8, and the other solution it will be 3 plus root 8. So which will mean that if we are finding the greater than or equals to 0, wake up, greater than or equals to 0, it means that we need this part of the graph, and also we need the upper part of the graph. So the solution for this will be values of x greater than this, and also values of x less than this. So the way you are going to write this solution here, you are going to say that x is greater than or equals to 3 plus root 8, and the other one is going to be x is less than or equal to 3 plus root 8. So basically that's what you are going to do in order to state that. So the next part is to find the values that satisfy both this equation and this equation. So already we had gotten the value that x is basically less than 35 over 3. So meaning that 35 over 3, we can assume it's somewhere here. Yeah. So we want values which are less than this side, less than 35 over 3. So which will mean that our value that satisfies this equation will be x is less than or equals to 3 minus root 8. That is the one of the answer. The second answer will be values between this point and also this point. So how are we going to write that? We are going to say x should be greater than or equals to 3 plus root 8 less than 35 over 3. So that is how we are going to write our answer for this part. Yeah, so our answer will be written this way. In this next question, we are told to find dy dx giving each term in the simplest form. Find the solution of the equation d squared y dx squared. Now you are going to differentiate for the second time. Yeah. So dy dx, of course, when you are differentiating x cubed, that's going to be, you are going to take the power down and decrease the power by 1. So that's going to give you 3x squared plus, this is 96x. If we take the power this way, we're going to take it down. So it will be 96 times a half, which will give us 48. And we subtract 1 here, we are going to get negative 1 over 2. So basically, this is the expression for the differentiation. Then in order to get d squared y dx squared, we are going to differentiate this once more. So taking the 2 down and decreasing the power by 1, that becomes 6x minus 24 negative 3 over 2. So since we were to solve with dy dx squared equals to 0, so we are going to equate this equation like that. And of course, we shall divide both sides by 6. If we divide by 6, divide by 6, we are going to get 4 here. And divide by x raised to power negative 3 over 2, both sides, we're going to reduce to this particular expression. So which will mean if we square both sides, we shall get 16, and find the fifth root, or square here by 1 over 5, raised power 1 over 5 rather, and then you can see this and this will cancel out, we remain with x. But the question was asking us, writing your answer in the form 2 raised to power k. So meaning our base here must be what? Must be 2. So which reduces to 4 over 5 as shown there. The curve C has the equation this, and the straight line has this equation, and where k is a constant, show that L and C meets when. So if you are going to be doing question where you are told the lines and the curve are intersecting, you need to remember that you are going to equate those two equations. You are going to equate this equation and this, because y is this, so you are going to substitute it at this given point, and this is exactly what you are going to do, and you will earn the first mark there. Putting the like terms together and ensuring that you are doing it correctly, take values on the other side of the equal sign, you are going to have the equation reducing to this. And now look at this, we're having k x squared minus 3x squared, so we are going to factor out x squared, we are going to remain with k minus 3 into x squared, and this part here we are having 4 and 2, basically this is going to reduce to 6x minus 2. So we shall have our equation reducing to this, which we were supposed to show at this given point. So once you've done all your work like that, now you see you are earning your marks. The next part, we are hence find the value of k for which L is a tangent. L is a tangent. What does that mean? Remember, we learned about discriminant. Discriminant. And discriminant D is usually b squared minus 4ac. How do you get the discriminant? Remember, if a curve is meeting a straight line, and if they are meeting like that at two distinct points, the discriminant must be greater than 0. But if the curve is touching a line at one point, now it's a tangent, the discriminant should be equals to 0. But if there is no point of intersection between the line and the curve, we shall say the discriminant is less than 0. So there are no real roots, no solution for that. Now in this case, because it's a tangent, we are going to say that discriminant is going to be greater than what? Greater than 0. No, what am I saying? If it's a tangent, it means the discriminant should be equals to 0. So with this equation that we have at this point, we will find the discriminant and equate that discriminant to 0. That's exactly what we are going to do in order to work it out. So in this equation that we are to find the discriminant, you can see clearly that this part is A, this part is B, and this part is C. So we know the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Then we are going to equate that discriminant to 0. That is basically what I can see here, and then we will simplify things. You are going to get your answer as negative 3 over 2 as the value of k, and you shall earn your marks like that, Now factorize. We have 9x cubed minus 10x squared plus x. This is 9x cubed. So if you are going to factor x out, this is exactly what you get, and this part will be the quadratic part. Then you can factorize now the quadratic part, which is going to reduce to 9x, yeah, into x minus 1 minus 1 x minus 1. So you can pick again this and this, so that you are going to factorize the expression to 9x minus 1 x minus 1. So the cubic function factorizes to this. We are factorized fully. Now once you have factorized that, remember we are given this expression: 9 times 27y minus 10 times 9y plus 3y is equal to 0. So you can see where we have y, 3 power y is basically what? X. So we can say x is basically 3 raised to power y. So that is the relation we are going to use. Because we have factorized this, we are going to use, anywhere we are going to have 3y, we are going to replace with that x, so that we can be able to solve that equation. So this was the equation, but when we let 3 raised to power y equals to x. So we are going to use the factorized form, and we shall say now equals to 0. So x will be equals to 0. From this part, x will be equals to 0. From this part, 9x minus 1 will also be equals to 0. And this x minus 1, yeah, 9x minus 1 will be equal to 0. Simplifying this, it will be x equals to 1 over 9. This part also, we are going to say x minus 1 equals to 0, so x is going to be equals to 1. But remember, we were not finding x. We were finding the value of y. So we are going to say 3y, 3 raised to power y is equal to 0. Is that true? There is no way you will have such a solution. So a number is to a number like 3 raised to a given number, we can never have this scenario. So we shall ignore that. 3 raised to power y is equals to negative, or rather 1 over 9. So this is going to be, our y is going to be equal to negative 2. Perfect. And the other one, 3 raised to power y equals to 1. So y should be 0. So that we shall have this equation like that. Right. All right. The next question is finding the perimeter. Of course, we are told the figure shows the schedule of entrance of a tunnel. The shape of the entrance consists of sector A, rather B, C, D, F of the circle center F, joined to two concurrent identical triangles ABF and EDF, given that AFE is a straight line and FB equals to FD equals to 6.2, we're supposed to, and the angle is BFD equals to 2.275 radians, show that angle AFB is equals to 0.433 radians to 3 decimal places. So meaning we are supposed to show this particular angle, but if we let this angle to be x and this angle to be x, and we were given this 2.245, isn't it? 45, let me check. 2.275, 75 here. If we add all these angles, they must give us 180 degrees, which is equivalent to pi radians. So we can be able to use that relation so that we can be able to work it out. This angle and this angle were equal to x. So if we add this plus 2x should give us pi. Yeah, because it was a straight line. This is x, and this was 2.275. Then if you work it out, you get it as shown here. Then the next thing is to work out the perimeter. So the first perimeter we want to work is this arc length here, and then we use cosine rule to find the value of y for those two triangles, and times 2, so that we can be able to add the perimeter, and the total perimeter for that shape will give you 32.3 meters. Part C, we were supposed to find the area, and remember, area of a triangle is given by area of a sector is given a half r squared theta when you're given angle in radians, and that's what we were supposed to do there. And the area of a triangle, we shall use a half AB sine C, or then we can be able to times 2 because there were two of them. Therefore, if you add the total, we are going to get our final answer as 60.4 as the area of this figure that we are having at this given point. So you are to find the area of this, and then you find the area of this one using a half AB sine of this angle that is here, then also times 2, because this area and this area are equal, then you add everything, right? And also this one, when we are finding the perimeter, we were to use L equals to r theta, and the radius is this one, 6.2. So, and the radius, the angle is 2.275. But for this distance here, which I called y, we are going to use cosine rule in order to work it out. And then now perimeter will be this distance, this one, everything here, and then this one, so that we are done for that question. Now the straight line L1 shown in the figure, our L1 is this one, has the equation 5y plus 2x, 5y equals to 2x plus 10, and we are told that the point A and B lies on L1. So A is the y-intercept for L1, so which means that this equation that we are having here, we can say it's going to be 5y is equals to x plus 10. Divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5, which will mean that y is equals to 2 over 5x plus 2. So the y-intercept here is 2, so this coordinate of A is 0, 2. Okay. The point B has x coordinate equals to 10. So the x coordinate being 10, it means we can be able to find the y coordinate, because we can substitute here the value of x, and that will be 2 over 5 times 10 plus 2. This will go twice, 2 times 2, 4, plus, rather 4. Yes, so this is going to be 5 ones here is 2, 2 times 2, which is going to be 4. All right, yeah, I need you to check that, so that we are going to have our final answer here being equals to what? To 6. So this coordinate at this point is 6. So having identified that, we can be able to also work out the coordinate for this one. We know the x coordinate is the one that we are finding here. So the y coordinate on the x-axis is basically 0. But if we know the equation of this particular line, yeah, if we know the equation of this line is this for L1, then its gradient is 2 over 5. Then these two lines are perpendicular, then therefore gradient of L2 is going to be negative 5 over 2. So using this point and this point, we can be able to find the value of x, isn't it? So which means that the value of x is going to be what? The value of x is going to be, okay, we are going to find the gradient. Already we have said now the gradient of M2 here is negative 5 over 2. So we can be able to say change in y over change in x is going to give us the gradient M2. 2. And change in y to be 6 minus 0, so it will be 6 minus 0 over 10 minus x is equals to minus 5 over 2. What is it going to give us? That's going to give us 6 over 10 minus x is going to be equal to minus 5 over 2. So we can cross multiply here, things out, cross multiplication. We shall have 12 is equals to minus 50 plus 5x. We can take this one on the other side, to be 12 plus 50 is equals to 5x. So what does that reduce to? That will be basically 62, right? 62 divided by 5 is going to translate to 12.4. So the value of x at this point here is 12.4. Now, the straight line L2 passed through that. I think we have identified that. A was expecting us to find the value of AB. How do we find AB? AB, we're going to find the magnitude. We are going to find the magnitude, and then our AB is going to translate to what? Let's just work it out somewhere here. AB is going to be square root of 10 minus 0, that will be 10 squared, plus 6 minus 2, that will be 4 squared. And if you work out that, it will be square root of 116. And what is the square root of 116? That's going to be 2 sad 29, because you are supposed to give your answer in simplified sad form, right? In simplified sad form. In simplified sad form. Okay, that is it. And then the second part, we are told that integers, find the equation of L2. How will we find the equation of L2? How will we find the equation of L2 here? We have identified that the gradient of L2 is this, and this line passes through this point 12.40. So we are going to say that y equals to mx plus c, whereby we are going to have our y0 equals to negative 5 over 2, and x is 12.4, then plus c. So with that, we can be able to find the value of c, and the value of c is going to be what? Is going to be equals to negative 31. So therefore, L2, this equation becomes y is equals to minus 5 over 2 x minus 31. Of course it's positive, because if we take this one on the other side, it's going to be positive 31. Yeah, it's positive. That's true. Positive 31 at that point, because if you take this part on this, it will be positive. But we are told to give our answer in which form? In this form. So we can be able to simplify that, and that is going to be 2y plus 5x minus 31 is equals to 0. Let me see whether that's the form that we shall start with x. So it will be the form that is expected is 5x plus 2y minus 31 is equals to 0, as shown there. The next part that we are having, we are supposed to find the area of the rectangle ABCD. Area of the rectangle. already we have the distance here, which is 2 root 29. We can be able to find this distance here so that we can be able to find the area of A, B, C, D. So which means the area of this rectangle, we need first to find BC. BC is going to be square root of 10 minus 12.5 squared, 10 minus 12.5 squared, plus 6 minus 0 squared, minus 0 squared. So if we work out that, if we work it out, our answer is going to be 13 over 2. Therefore, area equals to length times width. So if this is 13 over 2, this part here, and this one is 2 root 29, then we're going to say the area is going to be equals to length is 2 root 29 times 13 over 2. Of course, you can see these two and these two will cancel out, and the answer becomes 13 root 29 as the area of the. Supposed to expand this. Once you expand this, you can be able to relate those equations. Yeah, if you expand this expression that you have here, you are going to relate those equations. Let me just show you exactly what I did, because use integration to find f of x. This was f prime of x, so we are integrating this. You have to expand this and then you start integrating term by term for part A, and that is exactly what you are going to get as the value for part A. One. Ten. Right. So we are told that the curve has equation y equals to 2 over 3x cubed minus 25x minus 56x plus 194 over 3, where x is greater than 0. The point which lies on C has the coordinates this. Show that the equation of the tangent to C at the point P is this. So first, we know that if you use differentiation, you can be able to get the gradient of a curve. So we're going to differentiate this part so that we can be able to get the gradient of the curve at the point C, at the point P. So we're going to say dy dx is going to be equals to, if you are differentiating, you take the power down, so it will be 2 over 3 times 3, and that's going to translate to 2x raised to power 2, because we are going to decrease the power by 1. And this one here, we are going to have minus 25. Then this one can be written as negative 56 x raised to power negative 1. So meaning if we take the power down, it becomes positive 56x. Then we subtract negative 1 from negative 1. Now this becomes what? 2. So this is going to be plus 56 x raised to power negative 2. So once we have this, we are going to say, because we want to find the gradient at point P, so we're going to evaluate dy dx at the point x is equals to 2. So meaning that we are going to substitute anywhere we have x at this given point. So we shall have 2 into 2 raised to power 2 minus 25 plus 56 into 2 raised to power negative 2. And if we work out this, we are going to get our answer as negative 3. So the gradient of this curve at the point P where we have 2, -8 is going to be this. Now, something that you need to remember is that when you are talking of a curve, now suppose we say we have this curve here and we are trying to find the gradient, the equation of the tangent. If we are talking of a tangent, a tangent is a point that tangents a curve at one specific point. So meaning that if we have a tangent at this point here, P, which is 2, -8, it means the gradient of the tangent and the gradient of the curve at this particular point, they are equal. So we can also say gradient of the tangent is also equal, can say equals to -3, because the tangent and the curve will have the same gradient. But if it's the normal, it means that the gradient is going to be what? The gradient is going to be m1 times m2, giving you to -1. So we have to evaluate that. But for this case, our gradient is that. And the equation of a straight line is given by the equation y equals to mx plus c. That is the equation of a straight line. So it will mean that at this point, we say that this tangent passed through a point 2, -8. So the y coordinate you can see here is 8. The x coordinate here is 2. So this is y, this is x. So this is going to be -8 is equals to m is the gradient, which is -3. -3 into 2 plus c. So in this given way, we can be able to evaluate the value of c, and that will mean that our c becomes what? Our c is equals to -8 plus 6, because -6, if you take it on this other side, it becomes a positive. This is going to be -2 as the value of what? The value of c. So the y-intercept of this tangent is equivalent to -2. Therefore, we shall say y is equals to -3x minus 2 as the equation of this tangent that we were supposed to find. And basically is what we have shown at this point. The point Q lies on C, given that the tangent to C at Q is parallel to C at P. Find using algebra and showing all your steps the exact coordinate of Q. The exact coordinate of Q. Now, in order to work out that question, what we're going to do is that, because we know the gradient of the tangent at this point is -3, then we can identify another point Q, so which means that it will be having it will be having a tangent which is parallel to this one. So which will mean that the gradient of the curve at this point and the gradient of this curve at this point, they are the same. That's why these two lines are going to be parallel. So meaning, if we take this part that we have here, which is the gradient function, and we equate this part to -3, because the gradient we got here is -3, and also the gradient of this is going to be -3. So we shall equate this gradient function we have here with -3. So that we can be able to solve this equation, we check the value we shall get. And that will give us the value of x. So we shall say for part B, we shall take 2x squared minus 25 plus 56 x -2 is equal to -3. So this is the equation that we have here that we have to solve. So this is going to be 2x squared plus 56x. I need to write this over x squared here, right? We just write it properly. So x squared, I've just taken this negative down, negative x negative 2 at the denominator, so it becomes positive. Then minus, this will be what? This is going to translate to 22 is equals to 0. So in order to solve this, I'm going to multiply all through by x squared in all the terms. So I'm going to have what? I'm going to have 2x power 4 minus 22x squared plus 56 is equals to 0. So this is the equation that we really need to solve. All right, so I can just do away with this part that I'm having here, so that we can be able to proceed to the next question. So having this, we can say at this point, let m be equals to x squared, so that we shall have this equation reducing to 2m squared minus 22m plus 56 is equals to 0. I've let that so that I can be able to form a quadratic equation, which we are going to do what? We are going to solve. So this equation, if we solve it, let me just put this quadratic straight in the calculator. 4 or m is equals to 7. Now look at this. Since we had let this x squared to be that, then it means we are going to say x squared is going to be equals to 4 or x squared is equals to 7. Finding square root, we're going to have x equals to plus or minus 2, which is basically this part that we have here, this one. And x is going to be equals to square root of 7. And remember, we were told that x must be greater than 0. So meaning that x is equals to 2. This one has positive or minus, so x is going to be equals to positive root 7. So since x is greater than 0, we cannot take the negative, and also we cannot be able to take the negative at this point. So since our x coordinate for p was 2, then it means the x coordinate for q is going to be root 7. And that is basically what you are supposed to find, the x coordinate. So the x coordinate for q is basically the root of 7 that we have shown at this given point.